Assalamu alaikum everyone, peace be upon you, welcome back. Today I'm going to make a sarcastic video. If you like sarcastic videos, then stay tuned. As you might know, we were asylum seekers since practically my whole childhood, from 8 years old till 18 years old. So naturally I have a lot of unresolved trauma, and naturally I haven't done anything about it. And beside that, since I've started my YouTube channel, people ask me, oh, why don't you make videos about recipes? Well, guess what? Here is one. And let's start with the simplest thing in the world that has been made so complicated for everyone, and that is how to knead a dough. Atta goondhna. Over the years, I learned how to do that. I learned how to atta goondhna and to make the perfect chapati, the perfect paratha and everything. And I have found a very easy way to do it, and I will share it with you. But first of all, let's get through the traditional way of atta goondhna. You must start, according to the tradition, with a round bowl. And it has to be round. Allah forgive me if I have taken anything else, but it has to be round. And then we have to estimate. And the amount of atta that we're going to put in the bowl, that has to be estimated. It has to be more or less, the amount of water that you are going to put in it has to be estimated. And I believe the reason for that is that we have to make our lives complicated because, you know, measuring is easy, and if you measure two things and you combine them, that's easy. And that's not what we want for our ladies in our culture. We want to keep them busy, so we work with estimations. So when we start mixing the dough, it has to be without the water. First of all, we will have to take our hand through the bowl just to make sure that everything is well mixed up. Because, you know, we have 24 hours in a day. What else are the women going to do? And mixing without water is also very important because, you know, we do not want to give our women the opportunity to study, to exercise, to go through a therapist. No, the only thing, the therapeutical thing that we allow them to do is to put their hand in the dry, soft atta and just to mix it around till your stress levels have gone down. So then we come to the point of adding the water. So we will have to put a certain amount of water in the bowl. The certain amount is just met by the feeling she is having. It could be a lot, it couldn't be not. So, but just be careful. If you put it too much, it will become liquidy, and then you'll have to add more atta. And if you don't put enough, it will get hard and it will become as hard as stone. So, but just know that you'll have to estimate the right amount of water that you have to put in it. So slowly you will keep adding water to the dough till the dough has become of the right consistency, what that ever may be. Now, if you're experienced and you know how to do it and you have done it for several years, this might go smoothly, although you might not have the same consistency every single time. It can be a very difficult process for those girls who are starting to learn. Note that I mentioned girls because they are not allowed to learn how to knead a dough. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we even talking about? Let's be real. Anyways, so the girls who are learning, they find it really difficult, and they got stressed out that much that at some point they're like, you know what, it's better that we eat bread. And I have to agree. That's what I say too. Remember that when you start mixing the dough, it has to be done with your hands, with your bare hands. So if the woman, of course we're talking about a woman, who's talking about men here, if the woman is wearing any rings, she will have to take off her rings. And if she is wearing nail polish, well then good luck. I hope the nail polish stays on the nails. And if she is wearing artificial nails, well, why would you do that? I mean, come on, you're a woman. You're supposed to cook and clean not wear artificial nails so that you cannot knead the dough. Now imagine if we would have taken a spoon instead of our hands. Well, that would have kept our hands really nice and soft. You know, that's not expected from a housewife, right? Right? She's not supposed to take care of herself. Family comes first. How many times I have to tell you? Family comes first. Okay, in this whole process, at certain point, there comes this, you know, aggression into it, where the dough has become sufficiently hard that we can kick it. You know, that's what we call mukiya maar ke aata gunda karo. And note that this aggression is taught to a girl that is maybe 10 to 12 years old. So when we have given the dough enough kickboxing, then it has become totally flat, and that's the moment when we turn around the dough, and that's what I call the round. Round one has finished. Round of what? You might be guessing. Actually, it's not true. Okay, let's say this is not aggression. Okay, I was exaggerating, but what it truly is, actually, it's therapeutic. You see, because you know, we in our culture, we don't want to go to a therapist. We don't want to make time for it, and we don't want to spend the money on it. So that's the only therapy we have. By and pushing and punching it, it's our way of getting relieved from our stress. You know, every culture, every society has its own tradition, and these ones are ours. You know, it's not only that we don't go to therapists. It's not the only thing in life that we have to do, but that's the only sport we have. I mean, why would you send a woman to go and have to do some sports? Why would you do that if she can go to the kitchen and just punch atta? You see, that's why I call it rounds. Because when you punch it enough and it has become totally flat, you have finished your first round. Then you roll it over and you can start all over again, and that is then round two. And you can make and you can have as many rounds as you want, because you know, it is your sport. You have to be the best in it. No, actually, it's not a sport. It's not a sport. Actually, it is aggression, because you know what? When you're really mad, and you're mad at your husband, or you're mad at your kids, or at your boss, or I don't know who, or just, I don't know, the man walking on the street, you know, you can just imagine that person and punch the atta. That's a perfect way of getting rid of your anger. Now tell me, how many rounds do you take? And the reality is, after all that punching and kickboxing and destroying your nails and hands, it still isn't done according to the tradition. It has to rest for 10 minutes or 15 or 12, or like, you know, estimate it. No, I'm just kidding. The most important thing is that you put love and devotion and energy into that process, so that feeding your family becomes a fulfilling job of your life. Anyways, enough of the traditional way. What is my way of atta goondhna? I like to keep things very, very simple. I do not like to cook, and I do not like to clean, but I do like tasty food, and I like to live in a clean house. So I do everything in the simplest way, in the shortest time, in the fastest way. How I do is, first of all, I have measured it out how much amount of atta I need and how much water I need. I know that for the people living in our house, 2 cups of atta, 1 cup of water. I take anything that I find in front of my eyes that is outside. 2 cups of atta do fit. I just put it in it. I do not care if it's round or square or from metal or glass or anything. And I add the exact measured 1 cup of water to it. And then I take a spoon normally, and if they are not clean spoons, because you know kids eat all day, and then I just sometimes take a fork or a knife. I do not take off my rings, and I just mix it for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds maybe. And if it's your first time, maybe it will take 1 minute, but I just mix it and then I let it rest, because you know I believe in resting. As a mother of 3 kids, I believe in the power of resting. I think it can do tremendous amount of things when we rest. After 10 minutes I come to check, but meanwhile during the 10 minutes, you know, you can just go home and watch some TikTok videos, you know. You don't have to tell anyone about this method. Just, you know, keep it to yourself and don't share it. Every time your mother or whoever tells you to go to kitchen and aata gundna, and tells you jaake aata gundo, well, you say, oh, it will take me at least 15 minutes, and you'll apply the 1 minute recipe, and the rest of 14 minutes you have for yourself to be on TikTok, you know, or watching religious videos, of course, and keeping yourself updated on the news of Palestine. So this recipe is the one that I'm satisfied with, that I learned, that I discovered in my 30s. And so naturally, since I have been a girl and over the years as a teenager and as a young woman, I did the traditional way. I spent many years practicing. I mastered how to make the round roti every single time. I mastered how to make the thinnest roti every single time. I mastered how to make the biggest possible roti. I even did a challenge to myself in which I held a roti making record. And that means that in 1 minute I tried to make as many as possible. And then in my 30s, when I went to a dietitian, and then we went all through my diet, etc. And then she's like, you know what? You're gluten intolerant. So after years of learning and processing and experimenting and eating, it turns out that I am gluten intolerant. What do you want me to do with all this knowledge that I have now? Someone asks me to make videos about recipes. These are the videos I can make. So if you like these kind of recipes, follow for more. I'm not a professional cook, okay? That's the best I can do. For those one who stayed till the end, I want to show you something. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.